Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 31st day of January 2019. Well, we made it to the end of the month. That's nice. Tomorrow is Imbolc, also known as St. Bridget's Day. My grandmother was named Bridget. My grandfather called her Bertie. She was the one that was from Ireland, and I was just so sure I would find witches on that side of the family, you know. I found it on the other side, obviously, but not on that, because I couldn't get back any further than her parents and maybe their parents, and that's it. I couldn't get any further than that. I keep checking, you know, but I just, the leaves aren't coming up. So one of the problems is I'm not sure on her father if he's from Ireland or England, so not sure. Because either line gives me similar kids, and so maybe others haven't been sure, and so they've I don't know. It's hard to know sometimes. Sometimes you'll find that some obscure one ends up being the right line. So, you know, you can follow stuff out and it doesn't go anywhere. It's like, well, maybe I chose the wrong one. So, because you get to choose from a lot of different ancestry deals, different accounts will come up with those same people in it, and you can choose from those family lines to see if it's yours. And typically, you know, they all seem to be the same one, but once in a while you'll get them and you'll have one with a different mother, 3 different mothers listed, and so you don't know for sure who they're actually, who's their mom. Usually you can figure out who their dad is, given that we live in a patriarchal world. It sort of stands to reason. But trying to find the mothers, sometimes, you know, you get 2 different ones or 3 different ones. And so those I tend to just sort of, I don't do anything with. I just leave it alone. Hopefully I'll get something else. And then, you know what, if you get like a preponderance of it, you know, you can't really say, well, you know, 6 people think it's this, when it could just be the one that's right. So you just have to be careful there when you're an Ancestry.com junkie. It's fun, you know, to look at where you come from and who your family is. And, you know, mine's all Merovingian and Plantagenet and all that good stuff. So, you know, cue the Illuminati people. Yeah, that was really shocking to find all the royalty. I had no idea. Literally, I had no idea. I knew I had some American Indian. Turns out it was the Pocahontas lady, because my grandfather's John Rolfe and he was married to her, if that's what you want to call that. But they had a child, and so I'm related to her through the child, not, you know, directly like I am to John Rolfe. So he was my 10th great-grandfather. So far I haven't been able to find any witches burned here in this country, just over in Europe. So. But that's kind of what I was looking for. You know, I think every witch wants to know, you know, am I truly, you know, a relative of someone they burned? You know, am I that? Because, you know, for so many witches, the calling is there. So where does that come from? You know, and I believe it comes from the Akash. You know, I think it comes from our own history in form here. I think that people that feel compelled that way, I think that there has to be some familial kind of influence that does that. Otherwise, why on earth, you know, would you ever, you know, tread that path? You know, why would you risk, you know, the things that can happen or have happened in the past, you know, to people who identify as witch? So, and even now, to this day, you know, you see this, you know, bad things happening to witches in Africa and whatnot. So, you know, the fear, unnecessary fear, is there. They don't understand because, you know, the clergy has done that to us. The church has done this, you know, where they've decided that you know, witches are demons and they're evil and they consort with the devil and all this other nonsense, and it's just not true. You may have some that view themselves that way, but I can tell you, you know, the majority of witches don't. You know, witches are just healers. You know, they're herbalists, or, of some kind, and typically, and I mean, some might not, but they have some knowledge of it. But most of us are just all about, earth energies and trance work, and just feeling the general resonance around us, that we just pay attention to that stuff. Um, and again, I think that when you have a calling, if you've always known that, since you were a wee one, that this is what you were, like I did. And I think a lot of witches are like that. They've always just been drawn to it, even as children, occult type things. And so where does it come from? Why you and not someone else? I mean, it's not that other people, aren't interested and don't like scary movies and things like that. It isn't that. It's just that it wouldn't occur to them to invest their time this way, So I don't know what does that. And I think it really, it has to be a familial influence from long ago. You're just drawn to it, and you can't not be who you are. You might fly under the radar, so to speak, and never self-identify, but you still live the life. And then eventually, you get tired of living that way, and you just say, you know what, I'm a witch. This is what all that was. This is why I think the way I do. This is why I behaved the way I did. This is why I have all the rocks around the house and the candles and the incense, and why we kind of live alternatively. We're not the normal fare, basically. It wasn't just because mom was a hippie. It was because other things, So you end up finding out that people that you grew up with, were of this persuasion, and it's like, oh, and suddenly some things start to click, because there's always tells. You can't help it. You're going to wear your witch jewelry. You're going to do different things, So, and people might say, oh, well, what's that about? So, particularly if you wear a pentagram all the time, if you wear a pentagram necklace or something, people are going to go, what's that about? Personally, I think the dead giveaway is when I buy all the black candles at Walmart at Halloween. So that's a dead giveaway. I replenished my black candle supply during that time. Literally, now I go through my own self checkout, but before that, I had one lady in the checkout just look at me like, what are you doing? I didn't say a word. I just smiled. Anyhow, today being the 31st is a day of structure. It's a 4-day numerologically, and we need to find another word for that, don't we? There's too many syllables. Numerology, numerological, too many. Anyway, 4 is about structure and foundation, so maybe that you might experience some issues of that today. Or it's a good time to focus on that, so maybe it's the more mundane tasks of life. Make sure your bills are paid, or you're getting ready to. I usually do mine today or tomorrow. Lately, though, I've been doing as they come in, but normally I wait, till the first of the month, sometime around there. And so that might be something you can do today or tomorrow. Tomorrow, again, is in bulk. And if you are pagan or witch or whatever, and you practice the Sabbats, there's 8 major ones, of course, during the year. I'm more of a moon person, an Esbat person, but tomorrow's a nice day. It's all about purity and rebirth and fertility. And you at sunset you can light a candle in each room to welcome the sun back, and that type of energy back into the sphere. Now we have some time, of course. We're at 3,000 feet above sea level here, so I always laugh. It's like, oh yeah, spring. No, not yet, not here. But still, you still start to see signs of life, and so I think that this is just a nice time of the year to recognize that we're kind of at that transitional point season wise, or we're coming into it. It takes some of us a little longer than others. Now, if we drive over the mountain and go to Portland, you know, this is a time of year where you're going to start to see, you know, next month mostly, well, probably more like March, but in February too, you might start to see the trees start to bud and flowers start to come out. But, you know, they have more temperate weather than we do. So they're just, you know, practically at sea level there. So, you know, they get ice. I mean, it's not that it doesn't snow in Portland, it does, but not like here, although it really hasn't this year. So not here, which is strange. So anyhow, let's count 13 and see what we have for today. It's a Thursday, it's a Jupiter day. So, you know, expansion issues, you know, or if you need to expand something, if you're doing anything with magic, we're out of the very, very, very bad days. So you can do that today if you have, you know, like if you have to do something for prosperity or something like that, or healing, you can make use of Jupiter's expansive energies to magnify and amplify your working. So something to think about anyway, if you're magically inclined. Well, I'm using the Morgan Greer again today. I'm going to take a little drink of tea. I'm still doing my honey and lemon cleanse every morning. That stuff helps make your body alkaline, and disease process doesn't seem to stick in an alkaline condition. It's when the body's acidic, that's when the problem happens. Well, here we have the Six of Swords, and of course I've got lots of candle lines going through there, but you see now in this one you don't see the child, you just see the man and the woman, but in others you'll see a man and a woman and a child, and they're huddled against the wind possibly. They've got their the swords, six swords pointing downward into the boat itself. New ideas, new experiences. It's a journey over water. They're going to something new, though. You see clouds in the distance, so there's some mystery to that. You know, maybe they're seeking new employment, maybe they're moving to a new home. Six is about higher self energies, though. So there's some balance and everything there. But let's take a look. Yeah, it's success after challenge. That's one thing that I've written down. It also is about thoughts that are scattered and to allow them to coalesce. But it indicates a positive future. I mean, it can also indicate an emissary of some kind. But basically, it's denoting movement from one place to another. Okay, so whether you're talking physical location or in this case, you know, swords is the mental process. So you could have a change in direction of thinking as well, which may then propel you then to move somewhere or to move in a new direction. So maybe we'll see today something in our lives that changes that way. Where maybe after thinking about something, you either get an idea that you didn't think of before, or perhaps another way opens to us that perhaps was closed. Let's just do one more card, though, and see if we can get a little more information about what this is. I like the idea of it simply indicating a new direction, you know, guided perhaps by spirit, you know, that maybe and this is why I think that there's probably a child implied here, because it's about thinking about the greater aspect of self, or thinking about someone else other than yourself. It's like the Six of Cups, you know, you see one child offering a chalice with flowers in it to another child. So you're looking at expressions of generosity as well. So, you know, and again, if you see that increase on the even numbered cards, where you're looking at least in terms of here, you're looking at greater awareness of others within it. Well, apparently this movement may be due to jealousy and slander and betrayal, because I pulled the Three of Swords. So maybe there was a drama triangle going on, and you just got to a different place in your mind about it, and you said, you know what, I'm going to either, I'm just going to go and I'm going to do something else, and I'm going to turn whatever this drama is into something better for myself. Um, Sometimes in a situation where this is happening, where people are doing something to you, it can motivate you to make a change. Even if it's just a matter of say you live in a neighborhood where there's a bunch of nonsense going on, and you're really concerned, you're concerned about maybe your house being broken into or whatever. So there's an example where you may just say, you know what, it's just not worth living here, so let's just move to someplace else. There's just too much conflict, too much silliness going on, too much risk, and so I'm going to move somewhere else. And so perhaps there was something that happened, some kind of change in your life, that's then prompting you to make a new decision or a new choice, and in this case, maybe movement somewhere else. The fact that there's water involved here, uh, and that this is an issue of the heart, even though this is swords, they're still piercing the heart. And so there could be something that's happened, and you feel the need to move on. And perhaps this is a good day to do that. And given that it's a 4-day, we're already thinking about structure and foundation, aren't we? So that's interesting. See if the rune aligns with this. Lately, that's been happening in a really weird synchronicity way. So I'm already losing my voice. It's only 9:35 here. Going to use the birch runes again. It's a really sunny day. It ended up being really sunny yesterday. And I'm crediting the use of the Morgan Greer deck for that. Remember I said I'm going to do something a little more colorful? Well, here we have Yura, which is perfect, with tomorrow being in bulk. This is energy moving through the body. This is fertility. This is higher self and ego, as above, so below energy. Trying to get it straight there. It's the 12th rune of the Elder Futhark, so we're looking catalytic energy. It's a 3 numerology. The Eero is about, it's like Gebo in a way. It's Gebo is an X, right? And that's about balanced energy exchange. Well, in a sense, so is Yura, because it's moving energy through, okay, and it's doing it in a balanced fashion. It actually means year, but it's a rune that can be used. I use it in a bind rune in the garden to speed growth. As part of I use urus and ingwas and this one, and I forget what else. I think I use something else. But it aligns energy. Okay, so if you had a thing like this happen, clearly energy was out of alignment, and so with this, we're bringing it back in, and it basically brings events to pass. So clearly, we've had something happen. We've made a decision, and we're moving on to something else, to something that's new. And we're stepping away from the other stuff. And sometimes you just have to do that. And with Yura's influence, it's telling us that some positive things are going to come to pass. With especially with Imbolc tomorrow, you're looking again at the cycle of rebirth and renewal. And this card always feels like we're moving to something better. So perhaps that's happening for us now. So that's cool. Anyhow, I did end up writing about my dental experiences. Those are on the blog. So anyway, if you want to look at that or not, I'm going to do the lunar transits for today. And I believe we're moving into Capricorn, are we? Anyway, I'll do that today at some point, because it moves in the 4 o'clock hour. So I have to get on to that here at some point, probably not for a little while. I need to talk to my husband a little bit this morning, but decide what we're going to do, if we're going to go out and about or if we're going to stay at home. It's pretty cold right now, and I think it's going to be cold for the next couple of days. But hopefully we'll have a return of the warmer weather, although ideally, if we don't get snow in the mountains. It doesn't happen that next growing season, that next summer, but it does tend to affect our irrigation water. So right now we're looking, I guess we were informed that we're going to have like a 22% reduction in it this year. So it'll be interesting to see just how much water I can push across the field. If I don't have enough pressure, then I can't, you know, we're always out there moving, moving, moving. Instead of letting it run for a while, you have to move it around a whole lot more. So um, otherwise, it just doesn't get to where you need it to go, not if you don't have the pressure behind it. So that's the interesting part of flood irrigation. You need downward. You can't have. It's hard to irrigate a flat field that's flood irrigated if you don't have a bunch of pressure behind it. If it's gravity fed, then you know you do need to actually have a slope to your field. Fortunately, we do, but there's a couple areas where it flattens out, so you have to be you have to be really observant when you do it. So anyhow, but I guess that's it for today. Today's Thursday, so I won't see you again until Monday. Have a wonderful weekend. If you celebrate in bulk, have a wonderful time. Kind of goes over the course of 2 days. So again, you know, at least if you don't, light a candle in every room, you know, when the sun goes down, and just give a little blessing for new life that's coming. So anyhow, be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.